Listen,
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
we talk about it every day.
Can't get enough baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
There's absolutely nobody on the planet I'd rather be talking to right now than Gareth Breunlin, Vice President of Marketing and Advertising with the Chicago White Sox. And by the way, Courtney, I'm not leaving you out, Courtney Finnicum, of course, a part of our Baseballs and Boring family. But welcome in, Courtney, and welcome in, Gareth, first time that we've talked, and really appreciate you swinging them by.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to talk about our City Connect.
Yeah, let's do it. So, as we said before the podcast, Courtney is our boots on the ground in Chicago, lifelong White Sox fan. How many opening days in a row, Courtney?
I just hit my 25th home opener in a row for the White Sox.
There you
so
go.
That's a big deal.
I can speak, Gareth, to how I view your City Connects. But Courtney is she's in the heart of it, and she can talk about where this uniform hits for so many people, and so why this is the fabric of that fandom. But I honestly want to say that this I believe, I love talking about the City Connects for all these different teams. You know what I like about it, Gareth, is I like how it's unique. It's also not a lot of teams are leaning into basically like the neon sign sort of thing. This is sort of the classic. This is classic, unique, and also just it hits like it. So anyway,
Appreciate
I don't know
that.
if I articulated that well, but I'm here to build you up. So yeah.
Love it.
Well, so Gareth, take me through if you can. And you were part of the previous City Connects with heading into this version. Take me through the process when you first found out. Well, let's start here. Take me through your history, where you came from, how you ended up with the White Sox, and then we'll get to the City Connects.
Yeah, so I'm entering my 19th season with the team, so I've been here quite a bit. Started actually as a creative director, so I was doing all of our design from 2007 to 2015. So I have a design background. So these projects are my favorite because it allows me to kind of use my creativity, but then also the whole marketing side of it. So I started as a designer, kind of worked my way up, and then took over marketing in 2019. So I oversee, all of our retail. So this is one of our huge initiatives with Nike and Fanatics. So I've been here for the first original City Connect, which was in 2021 when we did Southside, which was a huge fan favorite. And so to have to come up with the next version of that was extremely challenging. And just to your point earlier, we had to do something kind of wild and different because our fans love Southside. So to just roll out another retro jersey or something that, said White Sox or Sox was going to be probably playing it too safe, and we were always going to be compared to Southside. So we wanted to kind of take it to that next level. Nike calls this kind of City Connect 2.0. We were pushing Nike to try to be what is the 3.0? Let's skip the second one and let's go to what fans would not expect for what you want to see in the 3.0. So yeah, it was a big undertaking, but we had a successful launch, and I think fans are enjoying it. They're liking it.
I want to ask you, as like you said, from the designer background, when you first hear about the project, heading into the Southside version, that first 1.0, what were your thoughts on it? Were you immediately let's go?
Yeah, it's actually a fun story for Southside, which I know we're trying to talk about the new one, but with original Southside, we Nike pitched us a bunch of concepts, and we kind of looked at them and we were like, this is not kind of the direction we want to go. And we had been toying around with a jersey with Southside on the chest, and it was perfect timing to say, hey, can we pitch you an idea? And so we had a design that we had been working on that had Southside. And so for them to embrace it. And obviously Nike is Nike, right? They do amazing things. And so they kind of took our concept and plussed it up a little bit and took it kind of the next level for the on field. But yeah, it was an internal job for us to create Southside. And then we kind of took the same way with this one. We really had a vision, and Nike was super open to trying to make it work. And, you know, when you get two leagues involved, it makes it extra challenging to make it happen, but we got here.
All right, Courtney. So I want to go back. Same thing with you. When you heard about this as a lifelong White Sox fan, when you saw the Southside uniforms, what did that surprise you? Did that hit differently? And how did you feel as someone immersed in that world?
So when I originally saw the Southside jersey, there was a no-brainer in my head that this is like, and I'm not just being biased, like I truly believe that was the first and the best City Connect 1.0, the best version of that uniform by far that came out. The creativity behind it, the colors behind it, it hit home for so many of us. And, you know, the Southside, we're very, very proud of that moniker, right? I mean, we love that. But to collaborate with this Bulls and this White Sox combination is extra special because, you know, the Bulls are really the fabric of Chicago, right? Right along with the Bears, right side by side. You know, the 90s Bulls, you know, are impeccable in this town. So they're still selling out the United Center every single home game. And the marketing behind the Bulls is extra special. I mean, I remember hearing, you know, friends would go to Europe when I was in high school and they'd be seeing the Bulls logo everywhere still. So the combination of the baseball and the Bulls and the Sox, having that on a baseball uniform was really, really cool. So kudos to you, Gareth. But I do have a question for you since we're just jumping in on this. Now, the accessories is what really appeals to me about the new City Connects. I love the jackets. The hats, though, to me are really special. The main hat is awesome. What made you decide to have two different versions of the hat?
Well, so part of the design process, right? We work with New Era, we work with Nike to create those hats, and we knew we wanted to use the wing sock logo that was created for the uniform. So the jersey patch on the sleeve has that wing sock. And if you're familiar with White Sox history, 1959, 1950s, we had a wing sock logo that was kind of a fan favorite, but it never was really on field. And so we wanted to find a way to kind of modernize that wing sock logo. And so we worked with Nike to create the new version. And if you can, you know, infer a little bit on some of the inspiration, not only from 59, but you look over my shoulder. I know this is a podcast, but you've got some, you know, Jordan 1s behind me with their logo with the wings on it. So there's some connections there, right? We're not allowed to explicitly say that, but that's kind of the wink that we were going for. And so for the headwear, we knew we wanted to feature that logo. And so having a red pinstripe jersey, we had lots of versions of hats, right? We went through multiple iterations, and our top two choices were the black cap with the wing sock and then the red pinstripe. So we honestly couldn't decide. We had split decision here from ownership to me to my boss to a little bit of everybody. And so we couldn't decide. So we went to New Era and we said, hey, can we be the first MLB team to have two? And they're like, you know what? I think both of these are strong enough to work from a retail perspective. And so why not? Let's do two. So we will be the first team to wear two different hats. So we're wearing City Connect every Friday night. So we wore them Friday. And then we wore the black hat to start. And then this coming Friday, we'll wear the red pinstripe. And then we'll try to rotate throughout the season. But as you guys know, baseball players are superstitious. If they're to win in black, they might run out the black again. If they win again, we're not going to, shy away from keeping that win streak. And so we'll go with kind of what they prefer. But the goal is to rotate and then, use the two different styles.
So you hinted at it. How do you workshop that? Like, how do you mentioned running it by people? Like, how many different people do you run it by?
It's pretty small circle. So that's one of the challenges with this project is it's got to be super tight and secretive because the leaks are real and the leaks happen. And unfortunately, ours did leak with a few other teams. And So there's a small circle, right? Our creative director, Toby Ramos, our head of digital, Tim Brognan, and then Brooks Boyer, who's my boss, are kind of the four people working on this. And then, but we did run it up to the chairman himself to say, hey, this is on the field. You have to give it the final blessing. And then obviously our partners with the Bulls, right? So they were part of this process as well. So the NBA was involved, the leadership at the Bulls. And so when we were going through kind of design and kind of what we wanted the jersey to look like, we worked with their creative director. They gave us more input on kind of like, okay, here's how we would want our brand represented. The headwear does not have a Bulls logo on it. It's separate than the on-field jerseys. The on-field jersey is the only thing that has official Bulls mark. So they didn't have as much input on the hat, but we ran it by them to kind of get their opinion and which one they thought would look best.
So you can't even run it by players because you don't want,
No, because this is like, I'm trying to think. I wish I had the timeline in front of me. I mean, this is like 16 months ago, right? So like roster turnover and like, we pitched to a couple players the concept and they liked it from like a high level, like here's what we're thinking, and everybody loved it, right? This is like targeted at the younger fan and the younger, these young kids that we've got coming up through the system. So they all loved it. I mean, so yeah, it was a pretty small circle though.
Courtney, for you walking around the streets, this is one of the payoffs of having a City Connect, right? Is that it's now another thing you see people in. I live in Boston and I see as many yellow shirts as I do regular shirts. Courtney, going back to the Southside version and now this, probably for you, when you see these jerseys, it probably hits more than even the White Sox jersey that you're used to, right?
Well, and it's kind of incredible because I was just having this conversation today about the new the White Sox Bulls City Connect, and Megan Morant, who works for WWE, who used to be in this market as a broadcaster, was interviewing Becky Lynch, who's this huge WWE superstar, and sure enough, she was wearing the new City Connect
nice.
Jacket. Yep. So some nice little marketing for you there. Yeah. She looked great in it. So. But yeah, I personally own 2 of the Southside shirts because I absolutely loved it. And I was literally just saying, after seeing Megan in that jacket, I go, you know what? I got to pull the trigger on this. I got to get myself this jacket because it looks good. So yes, I will officially be representing the new City Connect. That jacket is fantastic. But just seeing, again, City Connect's about connecting the city, right? The city, the team with the city that it's in. And you guys have hit out of the park twice with literally connecting the city and the team. So I think that's really cool.
And I think for us, like having Chicago on the chest was a big thing, right?
Yes.
Like there's typically with MLB teams, it's the road uniform that has the city name on it, right? So we obviously have our road grays that say Chicago, which are, still a great uniform, but we have worn a Chicago way back in the day, but it's been a long time since we've had Chicago as the word mark on the chest. And so to say like this is City Connect, right? So what else? How much more can you be than just having Chicago on the chest? So we love that aspect. We love the fact that we have a Chicago word mark that's very similar to the Bulls in our history. So the Chicago across the chest is their mark, but if you go back to the 30s, we have a Chicago mark that I don't know this for sure, but it was probably inspired the Bulls logo, right? Because it's part of Chicago's history. And so to have that on the chest to me even means more than coming up with some new script font or something that we kind of created to kind of mimic the Bulls or kind of mimic our history. This is from Chicago history. So we love that part. And just the colorway too. I think the colorway is something that everybody loves, right? Like black and red is just, it's stylish, it's cool.
Classic.
It's classic. And we have red and black in our history too. So that's like one of the things that we love about this. It's like we have that. We have, the 70s, Dick Allen was wearing red pinstripes. Minnie Minoso was wearing black and red Sox logos. And so there's so much connection between the two teams that regardless of the collaboration, it was just the colorway was something we wanted to do regardless, because we're a black, white, and maybe a little silver team. So to
Yeah.
have a punch of red is great.
And can I tell you that I've seen more players wear the Jordan cleats than ever? I mean, it doesn't matter what team they're playing for. And I think what that speaks to, Gareth, is like how it pops, right? How you are drawn to that color scheme, to that logo. Obviously, we know the story. Thank you to the movie, well, for me anyway. Thank you, movie Air. About him being fined for every single game for that logo or for that color scheme. But and when I saw these City Connects, and I see, like I said, I like a lot of them, but this was the one for me that just jumped out at me. And I think it's in large part because of that magical color scheme, right? I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're the only MLB team that can say the greatest player of all time played for both. So
That's right.
it's we have that, so to use that colorway our marketing campaign for this was bred in Chicago, right? So the bred colorway is extremely popular. It's, the band Jordan was and the fact that they just re-released it was kind of perfect timing too, because the United Center did something, the Bulls did something. It was all over social media leading up to our release, which we loved, right? Because everybody's talking about black and red Jordans, and here we are, in our back pocket, we've got this rollout coming at the end of April, and it was just kind of perfect timing.
I do want to ask you about the other around Major League Baseball. What's amazing is how different all these City Connects are, and how they're great. Like they're great. A lot of them are weird. I'm not going to lie to you. Like a lot of them, you're like, what? What's going on? But is there any communication between teams? No, none at all. Or you just say, hey, listen, we're all locked in a room. We'll see you when we're going to release this.
It's pretty tight-lipped. I go to, executive meetings and retail meetings over the last few years, and it's, everybody says they're very excited about theirs. They've got something going that they're excited to release, but I think everybody's so protective of their idea and their concept that they just don't want anybody really to know outside that small circle, which I get. I was the same way. I was in New York at the MLB offices in November, and everybody was asking me, how are you going to top Southside? And I was like, oh, it's good. I think fans are going to like it. It's really good. It's different. It's new. It's unique. And I wasn't really, giving anything else out to my counterparts, but it's all very team to team, right? It's fun to see how people and the organizations connect to their city, because every city's different, right? Some cities go, when they go bigger because they're the only team in the city or the only team in the state, so they can embrace like a larger, geographical footprint versus us. We've got our north side neighbors, so we're always going to be kind of compared to them. So how do we, create something unique to the south side that doesn't kind of infringe on what they would claim as Chicago? So it's a challenge.
Courtney, before you ask a question, I will say this. I've defaulted to this example, how baseball was behind the times for so long, where I did not know. I remember interviewing David Price. This is probably 2017. And he said, yeah, I said, what changes would you make in baseball? He's like, we got to be allowed to have more than two colors on a cleat. And I said, what? You're not allowed? And that was amazing to me that even then, I mean, that wasn't that long ago, that baseball said you can only have two colors on their cleat, and you would be fine if it wasn't. And now, obviously, you have all kinds, and they're leaning into this. But I mean, this is uniforms and shoe wear, and this conversation is among the best thing for business in the entire game. I know that we can see numbers on stories written or leaks. I put out there, Gareth, that I found out that the Red Sox City Connects were going to be green. Just green. Nothing else, just green. Boom. 2,000 likes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, yeah.
It's I think it's great. I mean, anytime you can show more personality on the field, show these guys that they have style. Let them be creative. Let them, have the colorful armband and the custom cleats. And, at the end of the day, we're marketing the game through this, and we're trying to target a younger demo. So like we need the little leagues and the travel teams to think that the White Sox are the coolest brand in town. So like the classic pinstripes, right? Those are great, but those are, that's the older generation. Let's give something a little bit different, something new. And, the crossover between the Bulls and us allows us to really like engage a whole new fan base as well, which is great. And hopefully, make people think, hey, they're still cool, right? The White Sox have an iconic brand. We were put on the map back in the 90s with the black and white. So we have to kind of continue to push that. And hopefully this black and red colorway kind of does that.
So Gareth, do you by chance also oversee the giveaways that the White Sox come out with every year?
Yep.
Okay, so I want to give you kudos because, I obviously am in contact with a lot of White Sox fans. And one thing that Sox fans absolutely love every single year are giveaways. So you guys continue to hit it out of the park with those. The Dick Allen one from over the weekend, doesn't get much better for me personally.
Yeah.
Were you tempted to leave the cigarette in his mouth? Be honest with me.
So we were told we were not allowed to have the cigarette, but if you were at the game on Saturday, we did give away 1,500 mini cigarettes to put into the bobblehead. So I will send you a cigarette with the Dick Allen bobblehead.
All right.
That would make me so happy, Gareth.
It was an undercover project led by our marketing genius on my team, Mike Downey. He's our director of or senior director of marketing and promotions, and he loves coming up with new promos in the history of the White Sox. He's fully into it. And so like with our 125th anniversary this year, we've got some amazing promos to kind of talk through and walk through the years of history. And he's the leader of that on my squad. So yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Courtney, I think a very fair trade is in exchange for the miniature Dick Allen cigarette. I think the appropriate response or appropriate trade is the T-shirt that Grady Sizemore has worn every single day this season. The baseball is black and white baseballs and boring shirt. Yeah. So we got a bunch heading your way, Gareth.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Promos have been fun. 125 years of White Sox history has been a good way to carry us through the season. So we've been excited about that. And then you layer on the City Connect launch. 2025 was a pretty busy year, and we're only May, 6th right now. So we've got some fun stuff coming.
Well, I know that Courtney appreciates it because she goes on a regular basis. I appreciate it just because it's just awesome. I love awesome things, man. Well, thanks, Gareth. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to do it. And thank you guys for the time.